You know, no matter what industry you're in, productivity plays a massive role in your day-to-day life. Whether that be how productive you do your job, or maybe you've mastered brushing your teeth. In this case, it's about video editing. Everyone always says, don't take the shortcuts, man. But if you ask me, I'm all for the shortcuts.
And that is exactly what we are going to talk about today. Hi guys, my name is Easton Bennett. If you guys are new here, I make videos all about filmmaking, editing, video production, and occasionally vlog my journey through my filmmaking career. Like I said before, productivity and efficiency is huge when it comes to video editing. So to rebound off of that, today we're going to be talking about my personal 10 favorite Final Cut Pro 10 shortcuts when you're video editing. Okay, so a while back I shot this Keystone Light spec ad here in my garage. So I opened up this library and we're gonna use this library as our test library to show you guys these shortcuts. To preface things before we get into it, these are just my shortcuts and the way I do it. Obviously, this is not the holy grail of shortcuts and you have to mix and match and play with what works best for you. There's probably great tutorials out there on Final Cut shortcuts, and obviously my way is not going to be the best for everyone, but personally I think a lot of them are intuitive enough to make you more productive and more efficient. To get to the actual shortcuts menu so you can change your shortcuts to how you want them, go up top to this Final Cut drop down box and hover over commands, and then you can hit customize, or if you want to use the shortcut option Command K, that will work as well. They'll both get you there. Once you click there, you'll actually be inside of the custom commands and you can see all of the commands are listed here. Any key that you want to change, you can just click it on the screen and it'll show you here on the right side what it is, what the modifiers are, whether you use shift or option or command, and you can change it however you feel free. That is just how you get to it, so you know when you want to change these. But let's go back into the actual shortcuts portion. The first two shortcuts that I want to talk about when it comes to Final Cut are the workspaces. Now in Premiere and in Final Cut and other video editing programs, there are what you call workspaces. There's color, there's audio, there's the default one. And generally, I go back and forth on Final Cut between two different workspaces. That is what I call my default workspace and what I call my color workspace. So when I go to my color workspace, it brings up all of my scopes and all of my inspector tools that I need to color my image. Now what I have for a shortcut for that to make it super easy is just the 1 key. So when I hit 1 on my keyboard, it will pull up the 4 scopes here on the left, it will pull up my color corrections here on the right, and then any effects that I want to drop on the clips in the bottom right. One thing I like to do is go into the view, hit 2, and I only like to look at these 2 scopes generally. I use all 4 of them, but these are the 2 main ones that I use. The second shortcut that we're going to talk about is going back to the default workspace, which I have linked to 0. So when I hit 0, it goes back to right where we started. And now I'm in my general, my default workspace where I can look at all of my clips in the browser on the left. I can see all my inspector tools on the right, and we're right back to square one. So it is super important to have your workspaces on just 1 key, so then you can click back and forth and you don't have to go up here to Window, Show in Workspace, and click through all that nonsense. So make things easy and just assign your workspaces to a different number key, and you're already the greatest Final Cut editor ever. Not really, but you're getting there. We're getting there. I promise we will get there. All right, moving on to shortcut number 3. We're gonna talk about zooming in and out of your timeline. Now the default shortcuts for this are Command- to zoom out and Command+ to zoom in. Now I don't love those 2 keys because it's with my right hand. So generally when I'm editing, I have my hand on a mouse on the right and clicking things, and then I like all my shortcuts to be on the left side of the keyboard so I don't have to reach all the way across the keyboard to make my shortcuts. So I actually learned this from Scott McKenna, and his zoom in and out, he switched it from Command- and Command+ to Z and X. So to zoom in, so to zoom out or further away from the timeline and make it smaller, he uses Z, as you can see here. And to zoom in, to make it tighter, more fine, precise edits, he uses X. So I adopted that from Scott. Obviously, Scott's a Final Cut editor as well, and I think that's just way easier having it on the left side of the keyboard rather than having to use 2 keys for what the default shortcut actually is. The 5th shortcut we're gonna move on to is in relation to Z and X to zoom in and out of the timeline is C. Now what I have C programmed to is actually fit to timeline. So that takes all of your clips, whether they're stretched out across the screen where you can't see them, and it shrinks them into the view of the actual timeline. So you can see here, if I zoom in, I can't see all of the clips that I'm working with, but when I hit C, everything shows up on the timeline that I'm working through, and you can see the whole entire video right there. So having Z, X, and C right next to each other allow for quick moving on the timeline and getting to where you need to be. So I think those ones are huge. Those might be the most important ones out of this whole entire video. If you're not going to implement those, then what's the point of even implementing the rest of them? Wow, that was a tough word to get out. Implementing.
Any more brain busters?
All right, let's move on to number 6. Now, this one's kind of goofy because I don't think many of you guys or, the other filmmakers that I talk to know, I don't think they use this shortcut. So this is probably gonna be something new to you. When I'm editing, a lot of times I want to detach the audio from the actual video clip so I can work with that separately. Now, I don't even know what the default shortcut for detaching audio is, but again, to keep it on the left side of the keyboard, I use detach audio as Shift W. You click the clip that you want to detach the audio from, Shift W, boom, the audio drops right below the clip, and you can do whatever you want with this. Now, in relation with Shift W, sometimes instead of just muting the volume on the clip, I actually want to detach the audio and then delete the audio. This will move into shortcut number 7, which is my delete key. Obviously, everyone knows the regular delete key where you can click the clip, go to the right side of your keyboard and hit delete. Everyone can do that. It's not that hard. Now, what I like to do is to keep things on the left side of the keyboard. Again, that's a huge emphasis for me when I'm video editing, is to keep all my shortcuts on the left side of the keyboard if I can, and the right hand uses the mouse. So when I detach my audio, I use Shift W, and then if I want to delete that audio, I click, and Shift E is my new delete key. Now I can use Shift E and delete to both delete that clip. That's just something super subtle that I like to have a delete key on the left side of my keyboard instead of always having to reach across my keyboard to hit that delete key. So if you don't have anything programmed for Shift E, put Shift E as your delete key and you'll get used to the old pinky shift, finger pop the E, and boom, your shit's deleted. It's gone forever, unless you hit Command Z. Then you'll go back into what you were doing. Next shortcut we're actually gonna move into is the Trim Start tool. Now the Trim Start tool basically takes wherever your playhead is, which is this little line here on the timeline, and it deletes everything to the left of that clip. So for the Trim Start tool, I have it programmed to the left bracket key, and when I hit the Trim Start tool, it's gonna take this clip that we're on here, and everything left of this line, it's gonna delete it from existence, extinct. It's like a woolly mammoth. You're turning the clip into a woolly mammoth. Not actually, but you're deleting it. So I'll show you here. We'll click this playhead here, and everything I want deleted to the left, I will hit this bracket key, and boom, everything left of that line gets deleted. Now we'll Command Z. This is gonna move into our 9th shortcut, which is Trim End. So instead of Trim Start, deleting everything to the left of the playhead, Trim End is going to delete everything to the right or to the end of the clip. Hence the name Trim End. Again, I'll show you here. We'll go to right here on the clip and I want to delete everything to the right. Hit the Trim End or the right bracket for my shortcut, and everything to the right is deleted. You can hit C to fit the timeline and you are ready to go. Now the last shortcut I have for you, this one is super simple, but a lot of people do not do it. And I never really understood why not, because it makes it so easy. Number 10, the default shortcut for your blade tool is Command B. So if I have my playhead somewhere and I hit Command B, it's gonna blade wherever the playhead is at. Now I didn't like that because when I have to hit Command and B, that's 2 keys that I have to hit. I would rather it be 1 key. So instead of it being Command B, I just switched it to B. So every single time I hit B, it blades where my playhead is at. Generally, B just means it brings up the blade tool, which allows you to click anywhere on the timeline to blade. I just switched that to Command B. So I switched B and Command B, flip-flopped them, and now every time that I have my playhead somewhere and I want to cut, I can hit B and boom, it cuts. So that's a super simple one, but it makes a world of difference when you're trying to edit fast and you're trying to be efficient. So those are my 10 shortcuts. Hopefully this helped you. I'm really enjoying doing these Final Cut tutorials and how I video edit to hopefully add some productivity and efficiency to your guys' editing. If I can figure out how to strip my commands and put a download link in the description, I will do that. So you can just download my commands if you want them all, import them into your own video editing software, and run with it from there. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you tuning in. Let me know if there's any other Final Cut tutorials or anything else that you guys want me to show you or show you my process on, and I would be glad to make a video on that. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like this, there's a little red box on the bottom. It says subscribe. You can click that with your mouse. It subscribes to my channel, and every time I post a new video, it'll pop up in your subscriptions feed. And I'll be a happy man because then you're watching my videos. Without further ado, I'm Easton Bennett, and I will video you guys in the next See Ya.